Okay, so day before yesterday, like no day before yesterday, it was a Friday. So Friday we discussed about like uh, different types of styles, right? So hope you remember we discussed about inline styles, internal CSS, and external CSS, and we discussed about the priority also. Like if you write both inline CSS and internal CSS, which will execute. If you write both internal CSS and external CSS, which will take first. So these type of things we discussed, right? So another important concept, so this is the important concept today. I'll try to cover this. From tomorrow onwards we'll go to the project. Okay, so this is the important concept. So this is called like a class and id things. Okay, so these are very important, class and id attributes. So these are very important, so you need to learn. Okay, so let me share my screen. So hope my screen is visible. Can anyone confirm? Can anyone confirm so my screen is visible or not, please? Okay, fine. So let's open our project. So this is our project what we are writing, right? So okay, so this is our project. Let's run this, and you know how to run. So let me close this. Okay, so this is how like we wrote this internal css and all. Let's we'll remove internal css and then css. So we'll just put h1 tag. Okay, and style.css we have h1 color blue, and okay, that is what applying here. Okay, so this css file we linked it here in the head. I told you, right? So every linking should be done in head tag only. Okay, so every linking should be done in head tag, and if you want to import any data from external website, just do that in a link tag only. Okay, do that in link tag in head only. Okay, so now let's discuss some things. Okay, so if I write another h1, suppose I write Simuleduco Solutions web designing workshop. Okay, so I'm writing like this, and if you see the output, so you can see that both h1 this color applied for both h1. And if I want to apply different color for this second h1, what I have to do? So I have to do like this, right? So like style color green, so like this I need to do. So then it will like of course inline css will have more priority. So inline css will take, right? So inline css will take, and external css whatever we wrote external css will get overridden by inline css, and that's why it is appearing as green, right? This is what happening, right? So this one is blue and this one is green. Suppose if I have another h1, like if I have 100 h1s, and I have to apply someone green and someone blue, like some h1 tags green, some h1 tags blue, then I have to write inline styles for all the things, right? So if I have like 200 h1s, 300 h1s, 400 h1s, I have to write inline style for all the things, right? So we can overcome this. Like this will be code duplication, right? Every writing everywhere a style color green h1, like this will be code duplication. So we can overcome this using attributes called class and id. Okay, so we will discuss that class and id things. Okay, before that we'll discuss about div div tag. Okay, div tag is the most important thing. So what this div tag will do, let's see. So before that, let's observe some things. Okay, so when you observe this Simuleduco Solutions and web designing workshop, this one came in one line and this one came in another line, right? But when you write another tag, suppose if I write b tag Simuleduco Solutions, and another b tag web designing workshop. Okay, same things I'm writing, but in a different tag. Okay, so if you see it, see this one came in one different lines, but this one came in single line. Why? Both are HTML tags only, right? So, but this one came in a this one occupied the entire space from starting to ending page, and this one occupied this entire space from starting to ending page, but this one occupied only this much space. So I'll inspect and tell you, don't get like don't break your brains about what is inspect. So if you see this, So you can see this occupied space, right? From starting to ending of the page it occupied. And if you see this also, from starting to ending it occupied. But if you see this Simuleduco Solutions, so it occupied that particular space only, right? If you do web designing workshop also, it occupied only particular space, like particular space where the content is. It didn't occupy the entire space of like from starting to ending of the web page. So why is that? So in HTML, elements have two types, okay? So one is block type elements, another one is inline elements, okay? So heading tags are called block type elements. Means this block type, right? Block type elements means it will take the entire block. That means it will occupy the space from starting to ending of the page in that particular line, okay? So in that particular line it will occupy the page starting to, and even there is content or not, it will occupy the space from starting to ending of your web page, okay? But in inline elements it will occupy only the content space. So whatever content it is, it will occupy. ఇప్పుడు Simuleduco Solutions ఉంది, సపోజ్ నేను Simuleduco Solutions వర్క్షాప్ అని పెట్టాను అనుకోండి. సో Simuleduco Solutions workshop, then see it will occupy only the content space. But even if there is content, less content or more content here in a block type elements, it will occupy the entire space. Even if there is only Simuleduco here, only if there is only Simuleduco, still it will occupy the entire space. You can observe that. So remember these things: block type elements and inline elements. So block type elements will occupy the entire space even there is no content in that particular line. Inline elements will occupy only a particular space, like only the space that content is there, okay? Which content is placed, only that particular area it will it will occupy, okay? So hope you are clear with block level elements and inline elements. So block level will occupy entire space of that particular line, inline elements will occupy that particular content space, okay? Now, so why I'm telling you this, why I'm telling you this? So because for telling the div tag you need to know why div tag is introduced, right? You need to know why div tag is introduced. So there is for every tag there will be a purpose. So what is the purpose of div tag? So div tag, it will help us to make inline elements convert to block level elements, okay? సో మనం div tag యూస్ చేసి ఇన్లైన్ ఎలిమెంట్స్ ని బ్లాక్ లెవెల్ ఎలిమెంట్స్ గా కన్వర్ట్ చేయొచ్చు. ఎలా ఎలా అంటే, సో జస్ట్ పుట్ దట్ యువర్ inline content inside the div tag. Div means division. So division name itself suggests that division means it will divide the page, okay? It will create one division in your page, okay? So just the name itself it suggests that div means division. So now if you observe and if you refresh it, you can see that this one occupied the entire space. Did you observe that? So now this Simuleduco Solutions workshop, now this Simuleduco Solutions workshop occupied the entire space. Here this one is inside the b tag, okay? This is a b tag space occupied, but the div, the parent element div is occupied the entire space, like a block level elements that like Simuleduco or web designing workshop like h1. So now our b also occupied by the div, okay? So that particular div is occupied by the, like is that entire page is occupied, okay? That particular line space from starting page to ending page is occupied now, okay? So this is what we use div for converting our inline elements to block level elements. And not only that purpose, so we have different purpose so when it comes to bootstrap, I'll explain you power of div. So div as a, like most powerful thing in web designing. So everywhere we use this div, at least h1 tags and all. No, h1 tags, I told you, right? H1 tags, some other tags, u tag, b tag and all. So we will use very less this type of tag, but div is the most common thing that we use in web designing, okay? We use hundreds of div tags in a single page. So that much important this div is, okay? So just for now remember that div tag is used for converting inline elements to block elements. Not only for that, so you can directly write content in div, so no need of putting this inline tag and all. So you can directly write a content in div, okay? You can directly write a content in a div and do the things. So you can directly write a content in div and do the things, okay? So div is the most important thing and the most powerful tag in web designing, okay? You should remember this, okay? So I don't want to dive deep about this, you will get confused. So just for now remember that. So div is a tag which divides the web page, and inside that we can write content, or else we can convert inline elements to block elements. Okay, that's it. Just keep this in mind, and remaining things and all just we'll go deep when we are doing the project. Okay, now so let's discuss about this class and id things. Okay, class and id. So what is this class and id? So what is the use of class and id? So this class and id is used for styling, mainly for styling purposes. So in css we use class and id for styling purposes. So why we need to do styling purposes? We have tags, right? We can put tag name, then we can open flower bases, and we can write the styles and all like this, right? Like this we can put tag name, and we can write a color and all. Why we need class? Remember I told you. So if there are 100 h1s, if there are 100 h1s, and I you need to apply different styles for like different h1s, then how? With this, if you apply like this, of course it will be of course you can't do with the h1 tag. So if there are 100 h1s, and if you write like this, then 100 h1s will get blue. So if you write inline styles, and if you write inline styles like this, then too much code duplication will come if there is more number of tags. Then how to overcome this? So to overcome this situation, we have a concept called class. Okay. So what is a class? So class is nothing but a attribute, like a style attribute we have, right? I told you, right? Style attribute will be there for every tag. So we can write style attribute and style equal, and inside that we can write style, so that it will be inline CSS. So remember I told you. So in the same way, we have a class attribute for every tag. So for every tag will be a class attribute. Then how? So how to write class? So same like other attributes, we have to just write in a starting tag. We have to put class equal to, then what should we write inside it? So for style attribute we wrote styles, right? So for source attribute in image and all we gave like source. For width and all we gave this length and all. So what we need to do, we need to give here inside the class, what we need to give? You can give any name. Okay, you can give any name you want. That is called a class name. So you can give any name you want. Okay, using this class name we will write css. Okay, using this class name we will write css. Okay, suppose I am writing my class name as heading. Okay, I am writing my class name as heading. Okay, now your class name is heading, and using this class name you will write css. Okay, so how to write css? So for h1, for writing styles to h1 tag, we wrote like h1, we kept h1 and write color blue. But we can't write like this, right? So we can't just put like this and color green and all. So we can't write like this, because heading is not a tag. Only tag we can put directly tag name, then we'll put flower braces and write color, right? But this is a class name. Okay, this is not a tag name. So how to access classes in css? So in css we will access class putting dot in front of a class name. Okay, like this we will write class, like we will write like this and access the class in css, then write the styles inside it. Okay, so for tag we can directly put the tag name, but for class, to access a class you need to put dot, so that when a browser compiles here, then it will, after this dot encounters, so it will think that okay, next one is a class, so I have to apply the styles for this particular heading class. Then it will come to html, and it will see this class heading, then apply the particular styles what we wrote inside the class here. Okay, so let's see what is applying. Let's remove this h1. Okay, let's remove this h1. So now we have only heading styles. Okay, and that it's a heading is a class, we access the class using dot. Okay, using dot we access the class and apply the color as green. So let's see, and we kept a class equal to heading, right? Let's see what is happening here. See, green is applied here, right? Green is applied here, and we didn't apply any class here, so it will be like normal. By default color will be black. Suppose if I have h2 tag, okay, so I'll put this web designing workshop in h2, okay, not in h1. And so if you are writing like this, like if you are writing putting a tag name, then if you want to apply the same color for a h2 also, why you need to write like this, right? You need to write like this, color green, like this. You need to write too many styles. So if you want to apply the same styles, you don't need to write too many styles. You can just put a class, and then you can use the class for any tag. Suppose if I put class equal to heading here, then if you go here, see, web design workshop is also came green. And suppose if we have another h1, another h1 by Narendra. So if you put another h1 and class equal to, and if you put heading for this also, see, green came. Like that, if you put this class instead of heading, I'll change it to green text. Okay, green text. So instead of heading, I change to green text. Okay, so then I'll change the class here also, see. And if you want, try to another class like blue text, dot blue text, then color blue, and instead of green text, if I apply blue text class, you can see, so blue color came. So like this we can write classes and access in css using a dot. Okay, dot class name, then write a styles, using a flower places, like as this we are writing in tags, right? So like that we can write styles using a classes. Okay, the same using id also. So id is also an attribute like a class. Okay, so that id also will be there for every tag. But id, using id we can apply we can apply styles. So I'll show you how. So I'll just copy the same thing here. Instead of class, now I am using id. Okay, now if I refresh, you can see that there is no styles applied. So you have id here and you have a styles here, right? And using a dot you are accessing the styles, but here it is not a class. Okay, so accessing of class and id will be different. Okay, accessing of class and id will be different. So for style, in css, for accessing classes, we use dot before name, right? We used dot before name, right? So for accessing ids, we need to use hash. Okay, we need to use hash before our id name. Okay, hash green text, color green. Then if you see the id with the id with the green text, it's green is applied. Suppose if it's like, let's change this green text to red text. Okay, and here also I'll change the id name to red text. Here we need to change to red, right? See, so using id also we can apply styles. Okay, using id also we can apply styles, but the accessing of class and id will be different. So the accessing of class will be dot class name, and inside the flower braces we will write styles. For id we'll put hash id name, inside that we can write styles, right? And maybe you should get like one more doubt, why I am using hyphens, why I am not writing like this. So why I am not writing like this, green space text, I can write like this and access green space text here, right? Why I am writing like this is completely wrong. Okay, so if you want to separate the words, you should just use hyphens. Why I am doing like that means, if you put a space here, and one more thing, class, it will accept multiple class names. Okay, now if you put like this, then it will think that green is one class and text is one class. So it will think green is one class and text is one class. So it will check for a green class, there is no green class. And again it will check for a text class, so there is no text class. Now what will happen? So no styles will be applied for it. So if you have two words, you need to separate it with hyphen. So it will consider as green hyphen text is a single class, then it will search for green text. And if any style is there, then it will apply that particular style. We have already style green, so it is applying green. Okay, so if you want to separate words, just do it like separating with hyphen. Okay, so that is good to do. And we have already class, then why we need id also? What is the difference between class and id? So the difference between class and id is class can be multiple. That means you can use a single class name for a different uh, tags. Okay, you can use single class name for different in many places you can use a single class name, but id will be, it should be unique. Okay, id should be unique for each element. Id shouldn't be duplicate, right? So this is the main difference. Okay, unique class should be sorry, clash can be used as multiple times. Like clash can be used multiple times in multiple places. We can use single class, and like green text we used here, right? We can use green text for another elements also, but id we can't use multiple. You may ask why you wrote two ids here, like you wrote a same id, right? This is wrong. Okay, this part is wrong. Id should be unique for every element. Okay, id should be unique for every element. If you are using this like this, then it is completely wrong. Okay, then why you wrote like this, and why, see here styles applied, right? I am telling that it is completely wrong, but still that styles is applied. Still that styles are applied, right? So how is this possible? I told you, right, there is no error handling in html. So even if you write like this, styles will apply. And if you write multiple ids in css, like if you write multiple ids in css, you won't get any issue. But when it comes to javascript, you will get an issue, because you will access the elements in javascript using the ids only. Okay, using the ids only you will access the javascript elements. So if you keep this ids duplicate, then javascript will access the wrong element, right? So if you want to access this Simuleduco, but if you access this with the red text ID, you will get web designing, but you won't get Simuleduco. Are you getting my point? I'm not diving into deep with JavaScript now. I'm just telling you things. So if you want to access Simuleduco text based on a red text ID, what you will get web designing workshop, because this also will have red text ID, right? So you will get a wrong element when you are trying to access in a JavaScript which have elements, when we have elements with the same id. So just think, like, don't do that. Okay, just keep id unique. Okay, suppose like you take your class. So suppose if we are a btech first year csc, single class will have multiple students, right? Single class will have multiple
Our
students.
screen is not visible, sir.
Screen is not visible, huh? Can anyone confirm a screen is not visible? What for other people also it is not visible? Can any other people tell me, like other for other people also it is not visible, screen is not visible? Yashvina, it is visible. Maybe Pawan, please check your internet connection. Okay. So, so for other people it is visible, right? Ashwin is telling it's visible. What about other people? So other people it is fine, right? For other people. So please reply. Please reply. Yeah, okay. So please, I think Pawan, you told screen is not visible. Please check your internet connection. Okay. So for other people it is fine. So if you take suppose your class, so your class have multiple students, right? Like you multiple students can use this class. So if you are filling a form, if you are filling a form, multiple students can put a class name as btech first year csc. Multiple students can use the same class, but when filling your roll number, like when filling your id, so multiple students can't fill the same id, right? So if your class have 100 students, and if 100 students are filling a form, so all people will write, can write class name as btech first year csc, but all people can't write same id, right? So it's a real time example. In the same way, class can be multiple, like multiple elements can use the same class, but multiple elements can't use the same id. Okay, remember this point. But still if you write this id duplicate id and access in css, it will work fine. I'm telling you, right, html don't have any error handling. It won't throw any error. It will work as is. It will work fine in css. But when coming to javascript, we will access the element using id. So we may access the wrong element if you are keeping multiple id, like same id for multiple elements. So just try to put the id unique for each and every element. if you are using IDs. But if you are not using JavaScript and only using CSS, don't use IDs. Okay, it's recommended to don't use IDs, just use class names. Okay, just put the class names. Okay, just style using the class names, don't use IDs. Okay, you don't use IDs if you are writing only CSS. Just remove this everything. Don't use IDs if you are IDs. I'm just telling you, ID attribute is there, using that we can write CSS, but don't try to write CSS with IDs. Try to use class name always. Okay, so try to use class name always. So this is what class and ID concepts are. So for class, we'll put class equal to class name in HTML tag, and then using that like class name, we will write styles. How we will write styles? We will go to CSS. There we'll just add a class name there, like dot class name, and inside that we will write styles. In the same way, ID also, if you want to write CSS, ID equal to, we'll put ID name, and the same ID name we will access in CSS using hash selector, hash ID name. Then we'll put flower bases. Inside that we will write the CSS. Okay, so this is the most important things. Class, div and class are most important things. Okay, div and class are most important things, so just remember that. Okay, suppose I'll tell you one more tag also, span tag is like a inline tag which won't do anything. So if I use span tag and I wrote here Simuleduco Solutions. So if you see here, Simuleduco Solutions came, but then nothing is applied using the span tag. Okay, span tag, no styles will apply for a span tag like h1, b tag, u tag, I tag. There is no specific functionality for span tag. Then why we are using this span tag? If there is no specific functionality, why we need this span tag? So this span tag will be very useful when you are using like when you are doing a big project. So this span tag will be very useful. I'll tell you how it will be useful. Suppose if you have a div tag and you have two text, Simuleduco Solutions and then web design. You have two text, Simuleduco Solutions and web designing. Okay, and now you want to apply one color for Simuleduco Solutions and one color for web design. I don't want to change any style. I don't want to change any style, but I want to apply green text for Simuleduco Solutions. Simuleduco Solutions, I need it for green, and web designing, I need it like blue text. So how can I achieve that? So if I apply style for this div tag, like green text, if I apply class for this div tag, then this entire text is changing to green, right? This entire text is changing to green. But I need Simuleduco Solutions as a green and web designing as a blue. That means I need to apply one style for this and one style for this web designing. That means I need to apply one class for this Simuleduco Solutions and apply one class for web designing. That means this should be in one element and this should be in another element. But I don't want to change the styles. I don't want to change the styles of Simuleduco Solutions and web designing, but I need different styles. I need different classes. So that means we need to keep in some tag, right? We need to keep in some tag to apply classes, because class is an attribute which can be applied only for tags. So we need a valid tag to apply a class attribute. So for applying that, we need a valid
విష్ణుగాడు
tag.
అడిగినట్టు వానికి లేదని.
Somebody is telling me something. Anyone is telling something? Okay. Hope no one is telling anything. So please turn off your mics. Okay. Please turn off your mics. Make sure that your mics are turned off. So here I need to apply one class for Simuleduco Solutions and I need to apply for one class for web designing. For that we need a valid tag, and if you apply any tag, then that particular tag functionality will apply, right? If you apply for h1 tag, then h1 tag functionality will apply here. So I don't want to change my styles, but I need to apply classes. In that case you can use span tag. Okay, in that case you can use span tag. You can put span tag, and inside that you can put this content. Okay, you can write another span tag, and inside that we can put one here, and here you can apply classes. Okay, class green text, sorry, and class equal to blue text, and we can remove it from here globally. And see, if you observe now, then see, this one came in green and this one came in blue. So if you have a multiple, if you want to apply multiple styles for a same inline text, then you can use span. Okay, span is inline element. Okay, you see, you can see span is inline element. If you inspect here, see, only the space occupied is only that content space occupied. Not completely line is not occupied. Okay, but this complete line is for div. Okay, this is what div is occupying, because we created a div, right? So it will create a division, but inside this span elements will occupy a particular space only. Okay, but this div will occupy this entire line space. Okay, this is the use of span tag. Okay, hope you are clear with div tag, span tag, class and id. These four are very important things we are going to deal with in web designing. So if you have any doubts, just ask me now. Okay, if you have any doubt, just ask me now, because these are the very very important things that we are going to deal with. Div tag is important. I hope you are good with inline elements and block elements, and also with the div tag, span tag, class and id. So when to use class, when to use id, and how to access it in style.css, like how to access it in styles. Using dot, we will access class. Using hash, we will access id. Okay, hope you understood everything what we discussed today. Hope you understood everything. Anyone, you have any doubts? You got right. Ashwini Reddy is telling she got it. What about others? So did you understand the things, or not? So please confirm. Ashwini Reddy is telling, yeah, very good. Likita, very good. What about others? Just others, let me know. Okay, there's nothing harm in putting yes or no in chat. Okay, so please. So this is like what for today's session, because this time is already up, and we'll discuss about, like, we'll start tomorrow. Okay, we'll start project tomorrow, and just while doing the project, we'll discuss other things. Okay, okay, guys. And one more thing before that, just give me 1 second.